is recording. Can you hear?
Okay.
Did you pause it? Or no?
I must be unpaused it.
No, we're all set. Okay.
Okay, good. Here we are. Let's call the meeting to order. Thank you for your time. We had actually had some other business come up that we have to look at it, and Ally's going to take attendance before we start.
Okay. Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yeah, I'm here.
Mike Wild,
Here.
Jenny Sullivan,
Here.
Dan Bruno,
Here.
Dave O'Brien.
Here,
Okay, we have a quorum. We have 6 out of 10.
okay. We call this meeting to, first two items were to review the Brookfield Energy application and accept it. Do we have all the requirements we need? Kara,
Do we have all the what requirements?
all the documentation we require to set to accept the application?
Yes, yes.
Okay, good.
I spoke with their attorney just around like about an hour.
Okay, good. Thank you. So Tony and Julie are on the line for Brookfield. I know you talked to us a little bit before about your project. Good article in the Albany Business Journal this morning, which I still get to read, but someone told me about it, so we'll see. Anything you want to contribute, Julie or Tony?
Julie, you want to go, or you want me to say something? Maybe she lost connection. I'm not sure exactly what else you wanted me to say other than, you know, the project for the main office and the main control center located on Big Bay Road. And then looking at a backup center on Main Street in town.
Good.
Obviously, you know, it's about 50 jobs in the renewable energy sector, mostly operations, IT, and management. So we're pretty excited to continue to move forward with the project and bring those jobs here long term.
We're excited to see it. It's always good to have steal stuff from Massachusetts or any other state or county in New York State.
Yeah, it matches up well with our existing operations there. So I think it's just a bigger growing presence of Brookfield in New York State.
And I think the resolution states we'll accept the application and allow the chairman of the board, chairman of the IDA, to set the public hearing at a convenient time. Is that correct, Kara?
That is correct.
Okay. So I would, before we start, I also want to say that there's several representatives from the EDC: Jim Siplon, John Wheatley, Linda Oldenburg, Amy Potter. Did I miss anyone? So anyhow, nice for them to join. We actually was partnering with the EDC, and their one brought Brookfield to us, so we thank you for it. And I think that it's a great project and a great development. So without any further ado, I'd ask for a resolution, a resolution to accept their application and allow me to set the public hearing.
I'll move.
Dan Bruno first, Brian Campbell second. Any further discussion?
Mr. Chairman, it's Mike.
Mr. Wild?
Thanks. Hey, Tony, part of the metrics we use to grant these applications and these benefits is the number of jobs. And I see you have 45 to 50. Is that your 100% confidence level, or is it somewhat of a stretch? Because if it's a stretch, I prefer we downgrade it to a number that's, something that you can easily obtain and not have questions from the public per se. Sorry.
No, it's 47 jobs as it currently stands. The reason why I put 45 to 50 is because because of the training requirements for the operators, we're probably going to hire a couple, 3 more than we actually need. And then through attrition and or, some people just can't make it through the training program. So It'll probably be a little bit higher, closer to 50 initially, and maybe trickle down to 47-ish, I would say. But it's
Okay,
definitely in that range. It just, we need that amount of staff to operate. So
excellent. Thank you, Chairman.
Any other questions or comments? Jim Sipline?
Well, thank you for just letting us jump in. We just wanted to make sure, that's why we came out in force, that you knew what a great project we think this is. We've been in conversation with these guys for some time, and these kind of opportunities are rare. And I want to go on the record that the EDC is 100% in support of this. I want you to know that you got the full support of the staff to assist either Brookfield or the IDA in anything that you may need to bring this to fruition. And we wanted to make sure that there was no question about how important this is for our community.
thank you.
Thank you, Jim. We appreciate your assistance through this and all the other members of the EDC. Okay, I will then call for a roll call vote.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes,
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Pam Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes, and I apologize for being late.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, carried. We'll let you know when the public hearings been set. We're thinking about the 24th, but we need to make sure a couple things that based on whether we have a Zoom meeting or whether we have it in person. We prefer Zoom, but it's going to be up to the state to pass the extension of Zoom meetings. I understand it was on the legislative agenda this morning. I don't know where it stands yet, but hopefully it'll go through. I know they're committed going to passing it, so we have an extension. So I'll let you know and be in touch.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Tony and Julie. We appreciate it.
Appreciate your time, consideration. Thank you.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you, Julie. Next item is review and approval of the Fort William Henry resolution. Kathy, just want to mention a few words about that, please.
I would be delighted to. First of all, thank you for what you do for the community and each one of us businesses that need some assistance at times to really do what we need to do in the highest and best manner. In this case, we are expanding our White Lion Room, which is the 1911 ballroom version, by adding a 3-season porch, making some hardscape changes out in front, and most importantly, updating and significantly expanding a kitchen facility to allow for two things to happen, and meaning two things to happen at the same time. So our White Lion Room, which is a very treasured place for weddings, oftentimes would knock out all of our food service operations within the main resort. And this investment will allow us to run both a full service wedding with a 3-season porch on the outside, as well as year-round breakfast, lunch, and dinner. It's really important for Lake George to, and for actually our resort to have food service available all the time. And when we had to close for a private party, it didn't serve our guests in an appropriate manner. So we feel that that's really an important part of our resort. And to do it right, it does require some additional dollars to accomplish that. In addition to that, we think that we are working with US Foods, and we certainly work with all local businesses because we feel that we want to be the community leader and everybody working together. And we really want to put Lake George on the map as a foodie location. You know, Glens Falls has done a really good job with it. Saratoga's done a really good job with it. And the more we can bring anybody up to our area for enjoyment, especially in the food and the outdoors arena, it's the reason to do it, to bring guests. I'm open to any questions. I thank you for the opportunity, and we look forward to getting moving.
So one of the things in front of us today is that your operation is classified as a retail operation. Normally, in terms of support from the IDA, if it's a local retail environment, we are not allowed to do it. However, you fit in the category of destination. because 90%, I don't know the number, I would project probably 95% of your traffic comes from outside the capital district area, which is the standard we hold on to, even though I don't really think we're part of the capital district region. We're our own entity, Warren and Washington County. So that's one of the findings that the board will also have to approve in this resolution. And am I correct in the fact that 95% of your business comes from outside the local area?
It depends on the time frame overall for in any given year. The majority of our guests, or the demographic, comes from about 90-mile circle around the New York City. So it's down into New Jersey, Pennsylvania, Massachusetts, Connecticut, et cetera. So that, and I do have some heat maps, which is we take the zip codes of all of our guests and we map it. And so I'm able to give you that for the last year. I apologize, I had forgotten to send it out for this meeting, but we do have that information available.
Mm-hmm. And one of the things, as you said in your application, was the fact that we're trying to make the Lake George area more of a year-round destination, hence the ice castles and other things going on. Is that?
Very much, that is correct. We worked very closely with the counties, first of all, and a number of other businesses to create events outdoors when COVID took away a lot of opportunities last year, but we've continued that. And that's a great thing within the county, where we continue to work together to find those parts of our year that really could use some help, because we have more things to offer in Warren County than probably any place. And if we can highlight them when people, when they're available, we can bring people from many different areas. We're getting back our Canadian people slowly, but we are definitely working towards a year-round tourism community.
Very good. I know that you used IDA assistance back in 1996, I think it was, quite a long time ago. And,
that is true, when we expanded part of our hotel. Thank you.
And I know that my mind's going. I know you've been a good partner with the Lake Champlain Regional Planning Board, which I'm also the chair of, and it's been a good partnership with them. So I'm excited to see you growing and helping the area. So that's my comments. Anyone else have any questions, comments? Mr. Biddle?
Yes, comment. Kathy, great to see you. Thank you. I wanted to make sure that everybody was well aware in what Kathy's saying and what the chairman is saying. Kathy and her team do so much for our community. Number one, let's just put aside the business aspect. What Kathy and Tom Wasaki and the rest of her team do for our community, partnering with not only the Chamber, the EDC, and so many others, but one thing that I want to highlight is Kathy saying partnering with other people. She really means, as most people would say, competitors. But Kathy and her team don't look at it as competitors, because if she's doing the right thing and the other resorts are doing the right thing, the whole community lifts up and they all do better. And that's always the attitude that Kathy and her team takes. Secondly, this program will help expand the Fort William Henry and in turn help solidify good paying jobs, and will also help with our occupancy tax and then also the sales tax for the area and the region. So for all of those, God bless you, Michael Ostrander.
Thank you.
For all those reasons, I think that this is a phenomenal project, and I think it's something that should be given due courtesy on the face of the project. And then you layer in Kathy and her team, and we've got a winner.
Thank you, Michael.
Thank you, Michael. Anyone else want to have any questions or comments? Jim?
Since we're here, we'll throw in our full weight here too. You know, Kathy and her organization has spent the last 2 years helping everyone get through the pandemic, as Mike shared. And I think beyond that, their leadership around developing a year-round tourism economy is in the interest of the entire region. So people take signals from organizations that are leaders like them when they're investing and when they're bullish about a year-round tourism economy. That's going to be a huge economic multiplier that organizations like this are designed to try to help capture and create. So we're lucky to have people, longstanding investors like this in our community. We're especially lucky that they're willing to invest right now to continue the growth that has occurred during the pandemic. Most are not. Most are just sitting on the situation, waiting it out. These guys are making a bet. And I really think it's an important thing for our community to stand behind, because that's how growth happens, is when we stand behind the bold.
Thank you, Jim.
Thank you, Jim.
Can I make one comment? Is that we put in a small number on the number of people, because really this year-round restaurant, we expect the revenue to be, close to $1 million once we finish. And that means that's really, I think I put 6 to 10. I apologize, I can't remember what was in there, but you're talking about 25 minimum, full-time jobs as we go through this. Because being a hotel, you're 24/7. It's not like a restaurant that might say, I'm just dinner, I'll be open from 5 to 9, or I'm just breakfast. So we really look forward to adding to our full-time benefited staff.
Thank you, Kathy. If there are no other questions, I'll invite a resolution to accept the application from Fort William Henry. Motion by Mr. Campbell. Second by Mr. Wild and Mr. Biddle. Any questions? We'll proceed to a roll call vote, please, Ellie.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Absolutely, yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, thank you, Kathy. We'll be in touch.
Thank you. We appreciate it.
Thank you, Kathy.
Bye now.
When will we know when the public hearing is?
I will set it. I'm waiting for the answer on the Zoom meeting. So if we don't know if we can do it by Zoom or in person, we prefer to do it in Zoom by Zoom. I can't set it until I know that answer. We're hoping to get it. So we're hoping to target the 24th or 25th and then do the full approval after that. So.
Okay, thank you.
Bye now. Thank you.
That way you won't have to fly up from Florida, Kathy.
I'll be back.
I'm up here.
Thank you. Bye now.
Take care.
The IDA has 3 other pieces of business to handle. So thank you all for joining, and you're welcome to stay. But the next item of business is we're going to skip the letter of engagement. We need a CDC meeting to do that. So I have permission. We already signed it. We're waiting for the nunc pro tunc from the full board meeting. So we'll see. Canal Side Energy Park Substation. We've talked about this for a long time. The issue really is that the IDA can't be a public utility. And so therefore we cannot operate the substation and charge for electricity like we're billed. Neither can any other company. They would have to become a public utility, and it would take several years for them to get public utility approval, defining they meet the criteria. So we have a substation where it's a great substation. I would love to do it. WO Plastics even ran into that. If they owned it, they could run it for their own use, but they could not sub-meter different things. So we've talked about this for years. We have talked about and Mike collected information on putting it on EVA to sell. We've also talked to National Grid. National Grid, when I talked to them, and we're going to set up a further discussion with them, they would be glad to do a quote for us on removing the power station and bringing power in. My sense is that my thoughts are, if the numbers that we're looking at to get it, there's $300,000 to $500,000, would allow us to take that money and to bring power in. National Grid, from our discussions, I'm going to discuss again further on Wednesday. have not offered to purchase those substation parts, but they would be glad to remove it for us and give us a quote, give us a project cost on that, as well as bringing gas in. So my suggestion is, has been for the past couple of years, is put it on eBay, where Michael did some good research and found out that substations are put up there and sold. We have a minimum starting fee, starting bid of $300,000. $300,000, any, if I get this correct, any commission to eBay is on top of that. So there's no cost to us up front. The only cost would be to the purchaser for, I think it's 15% surcharge or something like that.
Mhm.
So my recommendation to the board is to put it on eBay, see if we can sell it, and produce whatever money we can to help improvements down in the site. I would hope that there'd be a different way, but every time we've gone down it, especially when WL hired a special attorney to look into it, there was that they couldn't sub-meter and they couldn't charge, so we'd be in the same part. So that's my saying. So questions, Akira, did I summarize that correctly?
Yes.
So we've got the information. We actually had a stumbling block of they require a checking account number so that funds can be deposited into it. I am uncomfortable using any of the IDA accounts. So in conversation with Glens Falls National, we decided to set up a separate account just for this. So any money going in, we'll be able to take out of there as soon as it's deposited and protect ourselves and protect other accounts. So with that, I would ask for a resolution from the board to start that process. Dan Bruno
I'll move.
moves. Do I have a second? Nick Caimano, Brian Campbell. Any further discussion? Having said this, when we get a bid, we'll have to come back to the board to get approval to sell it. And it's also going to have to be, there's a quirk in New York state law that says we're selling an asset, we need to notify several state agencies. Monday's notice, so we do there. So that's the motion in the resolution. Anyone else got any other questions?
I think it's a good idea based on what you've said, and thanks to Mike for checking into the eBay, whatnot, regarding the sale of that equipment.
Well, okay, roll call vote, please.
Michael Biddle,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Jeannie Sullivan,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
yes,
Dave O'Brien.
Yes. As I've told people, we got the clearance to deed deed the Canal Side Energy Park over to us. That order was issued by Kate Hogan. I forget what the date was, into December. We're in the process of putting the closing documents together. The insurance on the property is driving part of this. The insurance on the property runs out on the 19th of January. I've talked to Carol last week. We are getting ready to close. There seems to be, if I remember my conversation with Carol correctly, most of the paperwork's done, and she doesn't see a reason that we can't close by this week or Monday. Is that correct, Carol?
Yep, I talked to Mike O'Connor today about title. They're just putting that final together. The documents are drafted. I just need to get in touch with Bill Nickus to be sure that Neil or someone from their group is available to sign the documents. But that will be good to go.
So I know we've talked about this several times. I do want to remind people that we are taking that with the taxes due. On it, I want to make sure people understand that. Again, the sum is about $1 million. We hope to be able to negotiate with them. Well, here's our first hope. The first hope is we close on it and get the money to pay so we don't get out of pocket. The second is that it potentially could come up for auction in September to October this year, at which point we can make a decision whether we want to fund that purchase or negotiate with the county, Washington County, to bring that number down, or we could let it go to auction and bid on it at auction. And yes, the answer is that the IDA, even though we owned it, can bid for property that we own. So I want to make sure that people understand that. On the insurance part of it, because this is part of it. Last year, Fort Edward Development Corporation went with a company called Central Insurance. They have been able to classify the buildings as occupied for several reasons. Number one, SMS has people down there running the property as they're running the grain operation. On the second part, it's bounded on one side by the Canal Corp, on the other by the rail yard. It is fully fenced in all the way around the property. The railroad has their own police force, so they're also patrolling that area. So those are the reasons why they looked at it and said, instead of insuring them as vacant buildings, they would be considered occupied, which is a substantial saving over buildings that are vacant. We would be having a further discussion. All that investigation has been done by the insurance risk underwriter, or whatever they call the person. Mike Grasso would be here. He'd tell me exactly what it is. But they did have a review last year of the property, and they came to that judgment. So the cost of the insurance, as it stands, last year is $14,000. I'm looking for the updated quote, which I should have, but we need insurance in place in order to purchase the building. So I want to make the board aware of that. I think I've covered all the drafts on it. So I open up for questions or comments. So I think Kara also asked for another final resolution. Now that we know that, is to allow the IDA to go forward with closing on the property and insuring the property at whatever the cost is somewhere around $14,000. I have a better number probably tomorrow. We're trying to get it today, but they're waiting for the underwriter. But the way they're transferring it, simply transferring from the Fort Edward LPDC to the IDA, is a substantial gain in terms of not having to go through all the other documentation process. So we can revisit again next year and see where it is, because then we'll be faced with the challenge of combining our two insurances, one for the road and one for the park. So would anyone like to make that resolution? Dan Bruno, Brian Campbell. Any further discussion? All in favor, and roll call, please.
Michael Little,
Yes, ma'am.
Brian Campbell,
Yes.
Mike Wild,
Yes.
Ginny Sullivan,
Yes.
Dan Bruno,
Yes.
Nick Caimano,
Yes.
Steve O'Brien.
Yes. Okay, thank you. I don't think we had anything else on the agenda. Anyone else have a benefit for the organization? All right, we're adjourned. Thank you very much. Appreciate your help.
Sorry I was late, boss.
That's all right. The bill's going out to you for being late.
Yes.